Hey, welcome back to Danford Golf Instruction. Today I'm going to take you through the perfect setup. So we'll talk about some setup positions that every good golf swing has, and then I'll kind of take you through some positions that really people kind of struggle with and they don't even notice that they have. So make sure you stay tuned till the end, because you want to make sure that every part of your setup is done correctly, all right? That's how you're going to have the most efficient golf swing that you possibly can have, is to at least start with a good setup. And as always, go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, give us a message, and we'll get to those as soon as we can. The first part of the setup that we're going to cover is your stance width. Okay, there's lots of different theories out there. Some say that it should be as wide as your shoulders, but everybody's shoulder width is going to be different. Okay, so I wouldn't just base it off of your shoulder. Some people are going to have wide shoulders and narrow hips. Some will just be different. So I want you to base it off of your hips. So if you take a line and you drop it down from the outside of your leg, I want it to dissect the middle of each foot. Okay, that's going to be pretty standard for your irons. With your driver, you're just going to make it a little bit wider. Okay, that's very simple. That's how much you are going to have when it comes to setting up for the width of your stance. Of course, if you chip, it's going to be a little bit closer. All right, but this is basically, we're just going to cover setup for irons. All right, today I have a 6-iron, and then driver is going to be very similar. I'll just tell you those differences as we go along. The next part that we're going to cover is basically hinging from your hips. How do we do it? So there's different theories and different ways to do it, because I see a lot of people come up and they have this rounded posture because they've been sitting in that posture, maybe driving here or out their office chair a long time. We just tend to have bad posture as Americans. So the first thing I want you to do, there's a few different ways that you can feel this. First, you can just put it over your belt buckle or where your hips are, and you just feel like you push your butt back. Okay, that's one way to kind of feel it. You can do the same thing with the club behind your shoulders, because a lot of times we roll our shoulders forward. Okay, so that's another way to do it. Third way to do it is if you just run the club straight up and down from underneath your nose down to your belt buckle. All right, and you're going to feel it if you do anything kind of weird and roll from your back. So that just goes between your legs, and then we might as well cover axis tilt. Is you're just going to feel like it touches the inside of your left leg. All right, so that's another way to check your posture. Final way is you hold it in your right hand, just like you're shaking somebody's hand. Put it at the back of your cap, and then pull it against the back of your belt buckle, and then you bend over, and then you can do it that way. That's the way that I learned how to make sure that my posture was good, because I started off with kind of the slouchy posture. Well, one of the reasons that we like to see you have good posture like that, it just makes it easier on your back, it makes it easier for you to turn. Okay, if you think of like a door hinge that's kind of bent, it's not going to really work very well, and that's how I consider the spine to be if it's in bad posture. Some of the bad postures that we come across is, we call that the S posture, where it looks like it's, or sorry, a C posture, because it looks like the letter C, and then the S posture is when you look like there's a curve in your lower back. All right, so it looks like you're creating an S. All right, S posture is going to be really hard on your lower back. It's going to make it harder for you to turn, and it makes it really hard for you to get into a good impact position. All right, so definitely stay away from that S posture, just because it's really hard on your body. And then the C posture, you'll actually see some teachers that kind of promote that C posture. If you look at some of the old players, maybe like a Sam Snead, you'll see that he kind of started off in that C posture, but then as he came back, he would extend and he would get into really good posture. All right, so it's kind of I guess you can say, an illusion. All right. The other thing I wanted to cover real fast with the width hip, okay, is if you get your stance too wide, your hips aren't going to turn very much. It's going to be hard for you. You're going to have to transfer weight a lot. And if it's too narrow, your hips are going to be overactive, all right, and you'll tend to not shift your weight very efficiently, and it's going to mess up your balance. All right, so that's just a quick cover of what we did in the last. All right, the third part of the posture that we're going to cover is how much should I bend my knees? Okay, that's a question that I see a lot of people come into contact with. Basically, if you just lock your legs back and relax them, that's all the knee flex that you're going to need in your golf swing. For a lot of you who have a lot of knee flex, it's going to make it seem like, man, I'm really standing up tall, and it's exactly what it kind of feels like. It makes you stand up taller. But the more flex you have in your knees, the less you're going to actually use your hips how they were created to do. And you're going to put more stress on your kneecaps and on your legs. all right? So we want those hips to move nice and freely. So if we just have the right amount of knee flex, the hips are gonna turn a lot more free than if we have too much knee flex. The next part is when I bend over, all right, we want to see basically 3 equidistant parts, all right? So from our chin down, all right, from the front of our ankles up, and from our butt. I'll show you all these videos. They'll have a little side-by-side screen where you can see exactly what we're looking for so you can test it yourself. So when you bend over, all right, equidistant should be from here to here and from your butt back. So if I drop a line straight down from my butt, it should be behind my heels in my shoe. All right, the next one is if I drop a line straight down from the back of my armpit, it should go right through the middle of my kneecap into the middle of my foot. Okay, that's a big balance point right there. So if you are leaning over too much, you're not going to do it. If you're too far back, okay, just be way back here. If you find that you have posture and you're falling back a lot, you're going to hit stuff right, you're going to top it a lot. If you're too far forward, you'll tend to chunk it or you'll tend to come out of it. All right, so we really want to make sure that you're on balance when you first set up. All right, another key to good posture is what we talked about, was that axis tilt. So basically your body kind of bumps forward a little bit and your body tilts back just a little bit. Okay, and that's good because it helps you turn, and it makes sure that you turn on a little bit of a flatter shoulder turn, because if you're too much this way, you're going to tilt, you're going to turn steep, you're going to have lots of issues. So just that little tilt when it comes away, all right, just makes it easier for your body to turn. Another point when it comes to the setup is make sure everything is square. So feet, hips, and shoulders, all right, that's a big determining on path. My shoulders are left, most likely my path will be left. All right, if you can, the more things you can get square in your setup, the faster you're going to start to improve. All right, if we talk about setup from face on, what we kind of see, we should all know where ball position goes with each club. Basically, make it pretty traditional with irons, is kind of in the middle or slightly forward. Driver is going to be off the instep of the lead heel. Okay, I'm not going to talk about grip. Tons of videos on that out there. All right, if you see, my arms are not going to be locked out like that. They are going to be pretty straight, but you can see the elbow pits, they're going to kind of crisscross one another. Okay, forward press hands, don't need it. All right, just slightly forward to the belly button. All right, and that is kind of some of the stuff that we look for face on. When it comes to your balance in your setup, if you rock to your hips or to your toes and your heels, try to find it where it just rocks right in the middle. Okay, balance is huge in the golf swing, and we tend to overlook it a lot. All right, so those are a lot of things to cover when it comes to the setup. I know it might be a lot to think about in the beginning. All right, so just try to chip away with each at a time. And again, I'll put videos kind of next to exactly what we're looking for, so when you tape yourself, you can also check these and make sure they're right.